everyone. Welcome to our West San Gabriel Valley Realtors MLS breakfast meeting. I would like to call this meeting to order. This is a hybrid meeting, and we're going to have it virtually and here at the same time at the office. And I invite all of you to come to the office here every Thursday at 9 o'clock. My name is Lucia Tam. I am your chair for this month of July. I am from Kingston Realty, and I think I know most of you by now. At this moment, I'd like to invite Nancy Chen to do the Pledge of Allegiance. If you all please rise. It's on. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Please raise your right hand and put it over your heart and repeat. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you. As always, we do have an inspirational quote, and today we're going to have it with Maria Howard.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you're all doing well on a Thursday morning. So, Lucia asked me to do something on peace. And there's a lot of quotes out there on peace. But when I started thinking about peace, I'm like, how is peace attainable in a world we have no control over, right? We don't control what goes outside of our parameters of our home. So how do you obtain peace for yourself on a daily basis? So I have something to read to you. These are the things when you're trying to obtain peace to meditate on. Whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report. If there's any virtue, and is there anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things. It's kind of like the mindset. In case you're wondering where that came from, it came from the Bible. Philippians 4:8. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you very much. Very well done. A little bit about me. As all of you know, I've been in real estate for about 40 years now. And I've been a member of this board for that long as well. And I started when the board was in the other side of San Gabriel, where the Sheraton is at this moment. It was a lot of fun in that auditorium, and we outgrew it, so we're here. I have been in many committees throughout the year, never a director, but in many committees. And a lot of people know that I do a lot of special events. I am an event planner, a business consultant. And I've been in the special events committee with the West San Gabriel board for the longest time. But I took a little vacation in the 2000s, and I came back, and now I am in other committees as well. But the one committee that actually I've enjoyed very much is the legislative one. I did chair the legislative committee before, and I know a lot of VIPs, politicians, all these elected officials. I think a lot of you know that I do. And I enjoyed actually mingling with them, trying to get things done on behalf of the Asian community and try to better our world here today. There's a lot of things going on that we truly don't agree with, and a lot of things that we wish that it was a lot better. Everybody's looking for paradise here. That is what we were promised. And I hope that, in doing something from your heart and towards the good of your neighbors, and with passion and with a lot of love, that things will become a lot better in the future. So hang on in there. A few housekeeping tips. All participants will be muted upon entry to the MLS breakfast meeting. And should you have a question or a comment, please remember to enter it into the chat box. Please remember to join us weekly as we will have our hybrid MLS breakfast meeting every Thursday at 9 a.m. As always, the meeting is being recorded and will be available online on our YouTube channel, West and Gabriel Valley Realtors. So please come for coffee and for donuts. We have lots of good donuts, okay? Please remember to follow WSUVR social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also watch all our pre-recorded videos on YouTube. Join our text message group for updates. Text WSGVR to the number 888-304-4055. We have a quick tip for today. The CR MLS Rule 8.3, responsibility for accuracy. As you know, we all have to be very accurate in our transactions in the things that we do. So upon receipt of the first publication or electronic transfer by the MLS of listing information, the listing broker shall make all necessary corrections. An example of a violation of Rule 8.3 occurs when a listing is not updated within 5 calendar days of the estimated close of escrow date that was entered on the listing. As a result, this listing is automatically closed by the system and is moved into the status of auto sold, appears as a red flag on the MLS. Make sure to correct the violation by the corrective action deadline provided in your CR MLS warning notice email to prevent the assurance of a citation and a fine. So I believe nobody wants to be fined, so please do that. Today's agenda consists of our affiliate spotlight, Chase Kerr of Morrison Plus Property Inspection, followed by our guest speaker, Attorney Kelly Richardson. Just a reminder that to be eligible for today's drawing, you must be a WSGVR member. We will be having an attendance drawing, WSGVR store gift card drawing, and a 50-50 raffle. Today, our affiliate spotlight will be brought to you by the affiliate committee chair, Brandon Sobransky, and vice chair, Joseph Gwynn.
Well, good morning, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Chase Kerr. I am with Morrison Plus Property Inspections. We're located over in Glendora, California. And a little bit about me and some of the personal interests. Right, there's my contact information if you guys need to jot that down. But if you go to the next slide, some of my personal hobbies and interests, for those of you who don't know me, love my family. My family's the photo in the bottom center. Got 3 siblings, an awesome brother-in-law, and some of the hobbies that I enjoy doing when it's summertime, outdoors, hiking, camping, fishing, all that great stuff. I love the mountains. And then during the winter time, I still can't escape the mountains, and I go snowboarding and enjoy winter sports as well. And so anything outdoors, you'll typically find me taking part in it. And so that's a little bit about me and a quick pitch about Morrison on the next slide. Some of the services that we offer not only general home inspections, but we also offer commercial property inspections as well too, whether that be large apartment buildings or condo complexes or light industrial buildings as well. We offer chimney scope inspections, sewer line inspections, drone estimated cost for repairs. A few other that are on there would be pool and spa, thermal enhancement. We try our best to be a one-stop shop for you guys. And we also have partners for pest and termite as well too, and also have referrals for lead and asbestos and things of that nature. And so anything you guys need on the inspection side of things, by all means, feel free to contact me. I'll be happy to help. And with that being said, thank you guys for your time and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you very much for sharing. just a reminder that we are going to have affiliates introductions at this moment. So if all of you who are here, please stand in the front so we can recognize you. Please remember to support all your affiliates in your transactions. They're very, very important and they are our partners. So, John Wax, are you here?
Good morning, everyone. John Wax with
Yeah,
Snap
you're so
NHD.
funny.
Should I start again? Good morning, everyone. John Wax with Snap NHD for all your NHD tax and environmental needs. I'll get back to you in a snap. I wish you a wonderful day and a great caravan. Thank you so much. My information will be in the chat.
What's going on?
Thank you, John. I think we heard you. Lightly, but we heard you. Okay. Judy Chow from AAA Capital Investments.
Good morning, Judy Chow, Senior Loan Officer. Happy to help you. We close in 15 days. Speak Chinese and English. Have a great week. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Yolanda Martinez, Arenas.
I woke up early, so I'm here. Good morning, everyone. Yolanda Martinez Arenas, WFG National Title Company. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Sage Gomez from My NHD.
Good morning, everyone. Sage Gomez with my NHD. Have a great day.
Thank you, Sage. Mark Wu from Allstate Insurance.
Good morning, everybody. Mark with Allstate Insurance for your property insurance needs. Have a fabulous caravan.
Thank you, Mark. Theresa Lamb from Corinthian Title.
Good morning. This is Teresa Lamb from Corinthian Title. Today is July 14th. Just want to let you know what the significance of 14 is. It's in France. It's like the Bastille Day. It's the Independence Day equal to United States, July 4th. That's a special for today.
Thank you, Theresa. And I believe those are all who registered. And from the front.
Good morning, Nancy Chan, Lawyers Title. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Oriana Chan, Prime Lending.
Good morning, everyone. Jacqueline Chu, Escrow.
Morning, everybody. This is Joseph with Pillar Post Home Inspectors. Have a fantastic day.
Good morning. I am Cosmo Sanchez, and I am a mortgage lender with Infamy. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Joe Haggerty with Orange Coast Title. Have a great day.
Good morning, everyone. Maria Howard here with Ober Public Protection. And just to remind you, I am the girl who'll go the extra mile. Have a great day.
Good morning, Bob Chu with Champion Escrow. Have a really, really great rest of the week.
Good morning, Alina Chu from Glen Oaks Escrow. Have a wonderful day.
Good morning and good luck, everybody. This is Alex, your feng shui master. Thank you.
Good morning, David Chang with Home Guard Home Warranty with the mask on. Thank you.
And good morning, everyone. Brandon Sabransky with First American NHD. Have a fantastic day.
Thank you to all of our affiliates. Please remember them in your transactions. We're happy to include open pitching to our virtual MLS breakfast meeting. Reminder that if you would like to pitch your listing, you must go to the www.wsgvr.com, click on open pitch, fill out the caravan request form, and submit it no later than Tuesday midnight of the week you want to pitch. Today, we have two listings featured. First, we have Alice Dykeman of Remax Elite Realty. Where's Alice?
Good morning, everyone. Alice Dykeman, Rex Elite. 777 is filing number 10. It's a senior complex. We have a huge price adjustment, $519, and please bring your clients. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. Next, we have Yumei Cheng of Coldwell Banker Dynasty.
Hello, everybody. everybody. I have a flyer here. It's a new listing in Chino Hills, walking distance to Chino Hill High School. Cul-de-sac in this very quiet area. So it's on the market only like 2 weeks. Okay, hopefully you guys go there to the open house. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have two more pitching at this moment from the floor. Yes, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Adam Rayleigh with Coldwell Banker, and I'm in Pasadena, but I'm pitching for Ruth Mayetta, who's an agent in the San Marino Coldwell Banker office. She has an exceptionally interesting townhome for sale in the city of Alhambra. It's at 1822 Garvey, number 6. It's a 3-story complex in a building that's on a section that most people don't drive by because it's in between Monterey Park and Alhambra. It's 2 bedrooms, 2.5 baths on title, about 1,400 square feet. Attached 2-car garage on the downstairs level, got laundry inside. HOAs are $360 a month and ready, listed at $599. It's a great value right now. It needs cosmetic improvements. Same owner probably for a generation or so. I'll be there hosting today as well as Saturday to help Ruth. 1822 Garvey, great townhouse. If you've got somebody looking at that price point.
Thank you. Do we have one more pitching?
Yes, she's over there.
Where are you? There you are. She's coming.
Good morning, everyone. The Ellen Chu from Harvest. I have a new construction at the city of Rosemead on the Jackson 2541, 4-bedroom, 3-bath. So they have a 6 garage. The lady built her own house for 3 years. But the builder told me the foundation was very good. She supposed to build for herself, but later she changed her mind. The price is 1.288, actually not bad. So city already approved final. So almost ready. Okay, the other one is 3 triplets, 8339, way more, Rosemead also. They have a 6-bedroom, 3-bath, 6 garage. The 11,325 lot. The inside is 2510. Okay, the first one is like a single house. They have a 2-unit and with the 2 garage. They built in 1937, and the back 2 unit in 1973. So I actually already have an offer, but he wants more. What can I do? Okay, then the last one I have here is Granada, Alhambra. That's an excellent location. I saw the one in the MLS on the Hidalgo. They have a smaller than the one I have here, 1177 square feet. The lot is 5950, but they charge more, like 8075 there. So with the 1941, 3-bedroom, 1 bath. So it's not ready yet, but we'll be sure soon. But I don't want to come too long this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As you can see, she's busy. Yeah, hope all of you can get that busy too. Today, our featured speaker is Mr. Kelly Richardson. Mr. Kelly Richardson is the partner of Richardson, Ober, Denichilo, PC, a firm with offices in Pasadena, Riverside, and Irvine. He is legal counsel to several associations of realtors. He's a licensed broker and a Silver Bear CAR supporter. He, for 20 years, was a GRI instructor and is a longtime member of CVR's Legal Affairs Forum, Home Ownership Housing Committee, and Investment Housing Committee. Richardson is also recognized for his thorough expertise by membership as an associate in the American Board of Trial Advocates and has received an A. Martindale-Hubbell peer review rating, the highest rating available. He has for many years received the designation as a super lawyer in the area of real estate law. He has received 2 national awards for his work in the HOA housing sector and many local awards for the Community Association Institute. He, for 17 years, has authored a weekly syndicated column on HOA issues, appearing in 16 newspapers throughout Southern California, and is frequently consulted by attorneys as an expert consultant on real estate and common interest development law issues. He has been in practice for 39 years. Now, please help me welcome attorney Kelly Richardson. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Lucia, and I apologize for the long bio. I'll shorten it next time, I promise. 39 years, I'm very tired. I'm very, very tired. And I can't help it. I can't help but remember. Adam, well, I liked your pitch. I'll be talking to you afterwards. I have to give a shout out to my dear friend, I'm not going to say old friend, Buck Stapleton, because I'm remembering that he is the one who introduced me to this wonderful group 24 years ago. When we were both children. We were both in sixth grade. So that doesn't tell you how old either of us are. And I welcome all of you who are participating virtually today. I wish you could be here for the lobster breakfast that Albert provided. It was amazing. All right. And I'm also excited because Lucia called me up and said, look, Kelly, our members have nothing to do Thursday morning until noon. So you have the floor. Say whatever time you need. So I think I've got 3.5 hours. I'll get you out of here at noon. I understand the restaurant across the way is great. So let's see if we can get the PowerPoint. It's going to seem like 20 minutes, but it's going to be 3.5 hours. So this morning, actually, what I'm going to talk to you about are 10 things that in 2022, homeowner associations in California are currently struggling with. Many of these are fairly new phenomena. Not all of them are, but you as real estate practitioners who are selling townhouses and other forms of HOA ownership really need to be aware of this. All right, now many of you may not realize this, but we have well over 50,000 common interest associations in the state of California, and the number is skyrocketing every year by thousands. They range from 2-unit associations on a single lot. When a subdivider wants to squeeze 2 homes and the zoning doesn't otherwise allow them to, oh, there we go, thank you. The developer will form a condo and build a duplex and call each of the 2 halves of the duplex a condo. And so you have a homeowners association consisting of 2. Try to figure out how the majority vote works when you have 2 homeowners, right? So that's odd, all the way up to communities such as in Orange County, Laguna Woods Village, for example, where there are over 13,000 separate homes in the community. Yeah, so very wide array. And guess what our legislature says? We're going to treat them all the same. Doesn't that make sense? So one quick word before we launch into the first bugaboo is I just want to mention, be careful about what you're selling, because you don't always know that the seller is describing to you their home accurately. True story in my office right now in a different county. A seller sold a home on land surrounded by a fence, some outbuildings and things, but one home, one mailing address. What the realtor apparently didn't check was that the property consisted of 3 lots, and the seller was only selling 2 of the 3 lots within the fencing. You see a problem there? Yeah, my client sure does, because she closed and realized she doesn't own the entire property within that fence. See, maybe an MLS accuracy thing, Adam? I don't know. Yeah, so be very careful. You have to sometimes check on what your client tells you. Your client says, I'm selling a townhouse, and you think it's a condo. It might be a planned development. It all depends upon the title. So your friendly title rep, shout out to our title reps in the room, they are really crucial to you right up front to make sure that you're selling the right property. Okay, so let's talk about the first bugaboo. The first thing that we're struggling with, and this is increasing in the last several years, and that is fair housing issues. Common interest development associations are all considered housing providers, just like a landlord. And in 2020, we had, for the first time in the United States of America, fair housing regulations adopted. And the owner, for purposes of legal actions and discipline, is not only the owner of the property, which would be the association, the board of directors, but look at regulation 1205U. It also includes the real estate broker or the manager of that association. Okay, so it's a very broad net now of exposure. So let's go to the next slide. And in 2020, One more. In 2020, the state of California adopted these regulations, which for the first time on a state level said, hey, you have to watch out for, keep going, give me another click. You have to watch out for harassment of residents in your community who are being harassed because they are a member of a protected class. And the list of protected classes in California is very long now. It's about 17 classes. You have obviously language, you have race, you have religion, you have source of income, you have immigration status, family status, age, gender, sexual orientation, sexual perception, and veteran or military status, and on and on and on. If somebody in your community is being harassed by someone else because of their membership in a protected class, that's not only morally wrong, but in the state of California, it's illegal. And let's keep going to the next slide. The association is expected to take action on that. And that's something that HOAs, managers, and their lawyers are still trying to figure out, how the heck do we do this? Because in the old days, like in 2019, if somebody came to the lawyer, came to me and said, hey, this person yells at me every time I'm outside my home. They scream at me and they yell at me, and they hate me. And well, okay, why are you talking to me? You're an adult, handle your business, right? But if it turns out that they hate me because I'm gay, they hate me because I'm Presbyterian, they hate me because whatever the thing is, now I, as the landlord, have to do something about it, or I can be sued. That's regulation 12010. I highlighted the language in red so you would see how serious this is. We are all expected to take some action to try to stop or otherwise respond to that illegal harassment. So that's a whole change for us. Let's go to the next one. This actually is not completely new in the law. Something that most even real estate lawyers haven't really acknowledged is that in October 2016, Housing and Urban Development, HUD, the federal agency, adopted the same standards as a national regulation. And for whatever reason, for years, it never trickled down. Most people didn't realize that it was the law. So when the state of California followed the federal regulations, being the first state to do so, it doubled down basically on this requirement. So you're violating state and federal law in California if you don't respond to illegal harassment. So let's go to the next one. The second challenge that and by the way, in terms of what your exposure is on the fair housing stuff, as you know, you're exposed to potential action investigation by Housing Urban Development, by the United States Department of Justice, by the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing, by the California Attorney General, by fair housing councils, which we have, they're nonprofits all over, and John and Jane Q. Public. Any private citizen can hire their own attorney and pursue fair housing violations as well. A lot of people looking over our shoulder if we make mistakes in this area. Realtors, we need to be very, very alert and make sure that if we get a sniff that there's some kind of discrimination happening, we have to get away from it, because we can no longer say, well, my client told me to do this. No, because if we're managing that property, we carry out their instruction, we are liable too. That's a change, okay? So we really need to be careful. Next challenge I want to talk about, this comes indirectly out of a tragedy that happened in Berkeley about 10 years ago now. You may remember the news story. It was horrifying. A bunch of students, including some youngsters from Ireland, were on a balcony in Berkeley, and the balcony collapsed and a bunch of young people were killed. And it was horrible. Well, it turned out the balcony was in bad shape in that apartment building. California legislature jumped on it within a couple of years and adopted a standard that many of you know about if you deal with apartment properties, that says that anything more than 6 feet above the ground that people stand on or walk on that's made of wood has to be inspected every 6 years. Well, the HOAs were exempted from that law, but a couple of years later, Senate Bill 326 came about in 2019. And this is going to be a sea change for HOAs throughout the state. Basically, what it says is that HOAs now have to do the same kind of inspection that landlords are doing if it's 6 feet or more above the ground, if people stand on it or walk on it, not just balconies, stairways, bridges, okay? Anything people stand on that's above the ground and it's built of wood, has to be inspected once every 9 years, not 6. So they gave the HOAs a little bit of a break. You might ask yourself, why are condo people any less protected than tenants? I don't know. But anyway, HOAs have until January 1st, 2025 to complete this inspection. Now, the inspection is supposed to be not just by anybody, but it has to be by a structural engineer or an architect. So it's got to be a particular licensed expert. Your average home inspector won't qualify. Now, the interesting question that I have is, how many structural engineers and architects are going to be willing to take on this risk? Could you imagine the risk that if you take on these inspections and it turns out that 5 years later something collapses because you didn't see something? You're going to get sued. This is California, right? They sue us because today's Thursday, right? Yeah, I mean, it's like a California tradition. You know, something bad happens, we sue, right, Vince? We just sue. It just flip, yeah, it's just like anybody, yeah. So it's a really big concern. HOAs now have basically 2 years left. We've got 2023 and 24 and the rest of this year to find somebody who will take on these inspections. And it's supposed to be visual, but I'm already seeing some vendors who are promoting their inspection services, and there's a wide array of what they're proposing to do. Some of them are proposing to drill little holes and peek inside, which is not technically speaking a visual inspection anymore. And they have different techniques about how they develop their random samples. One thing, though, that you need to know, if this inspector finds anything they consider dangerous, they are required to report it to you in writing. And if you don't immediately start acting on it, they are required to also notify the building authority. So they are required by law to turn you in, condo board or manager, right? So it's a very, very strict law. We're not completely sure how this is all going to work out. My guess is there are going to be literally thousands of associations that don't meet this deadline because, frankly, a lot of associations are not professionally managed. They don't have lawyers who have to speed on this stuff, and they're just going to be asleep for the next 2.5 years. And the danger is, if you haven't met this requirement and something happens and somebody's injured, can you imagine how you're going to look if you're defending yourself in court? You're going to look at least negligent, if not recklessly negligent or grossly negligent. You could even be exposed to punitive damages if they can prove that you knew about this requirement and decided that your HOA couldn't afford it. So stay tuned on this one. All of you who are affiliated with associations, one of the questions that I think you're going to want to start asking a couple of years from now, I would say certainly by the beginning of 2024, I think a question you all want to ask for your buyer clients is, where is the association on this balcony inspection? If it's a multi-story, again, it's a multi-story wood frame, and we're talking about anything above 6 feet or higher that people stand on, okay? We want to know that that association has either completed its inspection or is in progress to complete it, okay? So really, really important thing we need to be aware of. I think the realtors, the HOA world is very much spinning about this right now because everybody's worried about getting this done and not waiting till the last minute. I think the real estate community, I think it's going to be a big thing on all of your radars in 23 and 24. And by 25, I wouldn't be surprised if we have something on the TDS that the legislature modifies or that CAR modifies in terms of our forms. We're all going to want to know, did you complete this inspection? Now, there are some exceptions. If the HOA is set up in a way that the HOA is not responsible for the balconies or the bridges, elevated vertical elements, then those are exempted. Then it's up to the individual homeowner who takes care of it. So in your so-called townhouse type properties, which again, could be a condo, could be a planned development, if the HOA shifts the responsibility to the homeowner, then the HOA is exempt from that inspection requirement. So that's a really big one. That's why I spent a little extra time. So let's go to our next slide, Belen. Thank you so much. Rentals. Anybody heard of rental issues in HOAs? Yeah, anybody, if you haven't heard, you obviously are new to the profession, right? Rentals have been something CR has been dealing with for probably close to 15 years. CR has sponsored a number of legislation on rentals. Actually, CR tried 3 times to have a bill passed that would force grandfathering of any anti-rental restrictions in HOAs. And the first two times the bill was vetoed by Governor Schwarzenegger. The third time Governor Brown signed it into law, and that brought Civil Code 4740, which basically says if you're going to have any restrictions or bans on rentals, it only applies to future homeowners. Now, why were HOAs talking about bans on rentals? Well, because as you may remember, many of you, it used to be that we had a 25% limit on rentals to qualify for Fannie Mae and FHA financing. And so if you had an HOA with 30, 40, 50% rentals, you had people not able to qualify for the most desirable loans. Okay, so that was liberalized to 40%, and then it was liberalized even further to 50%, but you still have a lot of HOAs have been interested in trying to have some kind of a limitation on the number of rentals to try to keep more of a residential nature in their communities. Well, Civil Code 4741 was adopted and became law in 2020, and that said that you can't have any unreasonable restrictions on rentals. But the law doesn't help us understand what unreasonable means. So the HOA boards and HOA lawyers, we're all struggling to try to figure out how can I determine what's reasonable or unreasonable. Now, the law does say that HOAs can have a cap of 25% or higher on rentals. You can't have 24.5, 25 or higher. So you say my HOA has a rental cap of 30%, Kelly, is that okay? Yes, it's still okay. But your HOA has a rental cap of 20%. Nope, that's not enforceable anymore. That's gone as of before last year. You also are specifically allowed to ban rentals of 30 days or less. So your Airbnb, VRBO, et cetera, you're able to ban that type of rental in your HOA. That's still allowed. But beyond that, we really have no idea what unreasonable means. What I'm telling my clients is that generally speaking, if the restriction seems to be designed to discourage renters or landlords from renting, then that probably is going to be found in court to be unreasonable. Let me give you an example. It's very common in the HOA world. You have to own in the association 1 or 2 years before you can rent. Well, who's that pointing toward? Investor buyers, right? So I don't think there's a snowball's chance in the desert that would ever pass muster. So be aware of rental restrictions on either side, buyer or seller side, because they're very much under scrutiny. And none of us lawyers wants to be the first one to have one of their clients successfully sued. It turns into an appellate case that guides everybody else in the state, right? So I'm having my clients be careful. Number 4, okay, reserve funding. Now, CR has been on this issue for at least 20 years. In fact, most of the law in the Davis-Sterling Common Interest Development Act, you can thank the California Association of Realtors for all the disclosures that are required to be given to buyers about HOA reserves. And for those of you that may not be familiar with the term, HOAs are supposed to have a fund that they build up to offset the ongoing deterioration of the parts of the association that the HOA is required to maintain, repair, and replace. So it could be asphalt, it could be the roofs, it could be paint, it could be balcony decks, could be a lot of things, okay? But the whole thing is that CR has said, hey, HOAs, you've got to disclose in great detail to your members and therefore to prospective buyers, how are you doing? How have you accumulated this money? Okay, now, unfortunately, as many of you know very well, the associations are still not adequately, many associations, if not most, are not really following the reserve study that is telling them how to save up the money to offset the ongoing deterioration. And worse yet, this is why CAR has been very active in this area, is that we continue to see that the market value of properties is unaffected by its the association's financial health. That's horrible. So you're trying to sell a property on Broadway and a condo, and it's exactly the same architectural style, the same square footage as another condo down the street. One has $1.5 million in the bank. The other association has nothing in the bank in its reserve fund. Yet in the marketplace, you're seeing those two go for about the same price. That is absolutely not right. But it's not the appraiser's fault, but our appraisers are not required or expected to investigate the financial health of the association. So realtors, when you're helping your clients buy a property in an HOA, remember, you don't stop with the appraisal. You have to go a step further and ask your client to look at the financial health of the association. So that is still a struggle. There are a lot of homeowner boards that are artificially trying to hold the line on their monthly assessments. And one of the ways they hold the line is they stop putting money in that savings account, which means that they're slowly becoming insolvent, right? Because the debt is happening every month as the asphalt and the balcony membranes and the paint deteriorate. But if you're not putting money in to offset that, it's what we would call an unliquidated insolvency. And the moment that we need to replace those balconies and there's no money, boom, now we're officially insolvent because we don't have the $1 million we're supposed to save up for that. And then what happens? Either we don't repair the balconies, or we have a special assessment of several $1,000s per home at least, or we go to one of the HOA banks and we literally mortgage the HOA's future for the next 10 years to pay for something we were supposed to save up for. So please, please, please beg your clients to look closely when they're comparing, particularly condos. Compare the reserve fund, compare the budgets of the two condos they're looking at. It's not just about price. It's not just about location either. There are other factors. Okay, so number 5, lender questionnaires. You probably remember there was a horrible, horrible thing happened in Surfside, Florida, a couple of years ago, the Champlain Towers, right? Horrible, horrible thing. Half this whole association collapsed in a matter of moments, killing dozens and just under 100 people. Well, we are still nationwide in the real estate sector and particularly in the condominium sector, struggling with how to respond to this. What did this mean? And what do we need to do to prevent it? And legislators are around the country looking at different things. Well, the lenders jumped right ahead of all of us. And the lenders, as you may remember, added some new questions that they wanted answered about condominium association properties. Here are 2 of the questions that are driving HOA managers and HOA lawyers crazy. Are you, the manager or the board of directors, are you aware of any deficiencies in the project? Well, now wait a minute. We're going to make a statement to the lender about what shape the building is in. Legally, right now, the HOA has no connection legally to the lenders, but if they answer that question and it turns out there's something in the building that nobody knew about, or maybe they didn't know and they should have known. So what's happening is that the HOA managers, many of the companies are telling their managers, you do not answer these questions. And so we're having condo buyers unable to get their loans because the HOA is refusing to answer the question. Or other lawyers are saying, here's a boilerplate answer about this long, multiple paragraphs that's just full of disclaimers that says we're not responsible for the health of the building and the bank should do its own independent investigation and nothing we say is intended to be a warranty. I've drafted some of those responses. Now I've got it shorter. I've got it down to about this, but it still is putting the HOAs in a pinch because either they go out on a limb to make the bank happy and put themselves in trouble if it turns out later on there was something wrong with the building that wasn't known, or they refuse to cooperate and now our condo buyers don't get a loan and we lose a deal. So this is still kind of sorting out. This all just happened in the last year. I think there's going to be legislation coming as well. I think that the balcony bill that I talked about a couple slides ago, that maybe will help California not feel like it has to jump in. But I know the state of Florida just is passing a bill to deal with condo tower safety. So there's going to be more developing on this story. All the dominoes haven't fallen yet. Okay, Belen, how about number 6? Solar installations. Now, you probably are aware that California law has a very strong preference for solar installations. It specifically does not allow homeowner associations to restrict or prohibit solar systems from being installed on somebody's roofs over their own residence. Okay, so what is not really understood though by the HOAs is that it's not an all or nothing, that the statutes do allow the association to insist that whoever puts the solar system on the roof, that they have to accept responsibility for it, that they're going to repair it, they're going to maintain it, they're going to take care of any problems, they're going to insure it, and that if they have to take it off, that it'll be their expense to take it off for roof repairs or what have you. Most associations seem to be falling in one or the other category. Either they're completely trying to ban solar, which is just going to get them sued, or they're saying, oh, well, I guess we can't do anything about it. And so people are putting solar systems on without any agreements in place whatsoever. And then they come to me and say, well, what do we do now? Well, it's kind of late. You've already let the solar go on the roof. Now you've got to convince that homeowner to sign an indemnity contract when they don't need to because they've already got the solar. Another thing that I'm seeing with solar systems and HOAs is watch out for leased solar systems. I have a solar system on my house. I'm a big proponent of solar energy. Okay, don't get me wrong, but I am absolutely an enemy of solar leases because what's happening is people to try to finance the solar system, right? Because they're not cheap. Even with the 30% rebate you get on your taxes at the next year, there's still a lot of money. But what's happening is people to try to, instead of saving up, they're getting the systems leased. Well, that's a form of financing, okay? But the leasing company continues to own the solar system, not the homeowner. So when you sell that house, that condo, what happens to the solar system? Because those leases are not automatically assignable. You have to get the leasing company's consent. And what if the home buyer doesn't want that system anymore? They say, you know what, I'll get my own system. I've seen some pretty messy situations in the last several years caused by leased solar systems. So to me, I think leased solar systems are a red flag in an HOA or in a single family detached, because remember, your client buys the house, but they don't own the solar on the house if it's leased. The leasing company does. And remember, what happens to that lease after the solar system is installed? It's like a lot of mortgage loans. It's sold and it's sold again to financing, to investors, okay? So be careful about solars. Number 7, ADUs, junior ADUs, accessory dwelling units. We call them granny flats. Now in real estate, we've seen a progression of California law on this. Does anybody not know that housing is basically the #1 priority in Sacramento? If it involves housing supply, it's good, right? At least according to our leaders in Sacramento, no matter how crazy the idea is, right? Senate Bill 10, we're going to allow 10-unit projects to be put on a single lot if it's in a qualified area in the city of West Side. Or how about Senate Bill 9, which allows you to subdivide a 2,400 square foot lot and put 2 residences on each half of that. So I live in East Pasadena. I don't live in an HOA. If my neighbor has 2,400 square foot on that house, that lot, my neighbor who is an investor, a landlord, he can split that lot into 2 and put 3 more residences. I could have 4 families living next to me next year under Senate Bill 9. And there's nothing I can do about it. It says the city of Pasadena has to grant that application. Wow, great idea, unless you live next to it. Okay, well, so anyway, one of the housing trends many years ago, the state of California said to cities that they cannot completely ban accessory dwelling units, granny flats. Well, that took another step forward about 4 or 5 years ago. State of California said HOAs, you cannot completely ban ADUs. You have to have reasonable restrictions on them. Now, the difference between an ADU and a junior ADU is that an ADU is a completely independent dwelling. It has its own cooking space, its own bathroom. Now, it doesn't need to be separate from the building. It could be add-on. It could be subdividing part of the existing structure into a separate dwelling. There are a lot of ways you can do it. A junior ADU is not a completely independent residence because it doesn't have to have its own bathroom, doesn't even have to have its own kitchen, but it's a separate bedroom and living space. Garage conversions could theoretically be a junior ADU. We're all trying to figure out what this means. And last year, the legislature did another thing to all of us because it said that if somebody asks to build an ADU and the building and safety department doesn't respond, I think it's within 60 days, that the ADU application is to be automatically deemed approved. Now, I have a close friend who's in the process of building ADU in the city of Pasadena, and the city has not followed any of those deadlines. And I said to him, well, you're able to just proceed, aren't you? And he goes, yeah, sure, if I want to sue the city. So that law isn't really working out right now very well, but it is out there. So I think you're going to continue to see encouraging by the legislature more ADUs and junior ADUs, and then we're all going to have to sort out how it actually works. And HOAs cannot just have a blanket no. Number 8, Not understanding, okay, good. Not understanding what they own. Now, I mentioned in the beginning that you need to be aware, realtors, you need to be sure what you're selling, because what you're selling is determined not by what it looks like, but it's determined by what the title documents say, right? Yes. And can I get an amen from my title friends? So what's tricky, folks, is that we have condominiums that are detached. There's a brand new condominium project that I helped a client with look at their purchase contract and governing documents real near SoFi Stadium. They are all detached freestanding residences, but they're set up as condominiums. Now, there's a risk management reason the developer does it. There's two reasons: zoning and risk management. But the way this is set up is that the condominium, what people own, is everything above the dirt. And then the dirt itself underneath the boundaries in the condominium plan. So for all intents and purposes, it looks like a planned development lot. And so it'd be easy to say, oh, well, this is a planned development. You own this home. No, you don't. It's a condominium. You only own what the condo plan says you own. And so, but what it means is that you take care of your own roof. You take care of your own plumbing, which in most condos, of course, we tell people, hey, great advantage of condo is that they take care of so many things for you. You don't have to worry about it. No, not in this one next to SoFi. So be careful, because what the building looks like will often trick you. You have attached townhome style planned developments where it's the other end. You have townhouses, hundreds of them attached side to side. And yet the developer set them up as planned development lots where the property line goes right down the party wall between the two townhouses. And a lot of your clients are going to automatically assume it's a condo. And a lot of homeowner boards assume they have condos because they didn't read the documents. So a lot of confusion out there. So you realtors, as the experts, help explain to your clients, it's not practicing law, just help them understand what they have, because it may change their expectations about what they're getting into and what they expect of the HOA. Number 9, almost done. Here's a continuing struggle. Whoop, there we go, number 9. There's a continuing struggle in our country, is that in the United States of America, our culture does not handle shared living very well. My home, my castle, my way, right? In other parts of the world, people have figured out shared living, right? I've talked to people who live in owned apartments in Shanghai, and I asked them, well, do you have CC&Rs? Do you have a board of directors? And they look at me like, are you weird? Why would we do that? Okay, I've talked to people in Slovenia, in Eastern Europe, and I've asked the same question of a dear close friend of mine going back to the 70s. Her mother lives in basically a condominium, 3 or 4 story building, masonry. I said, so how do they handle decisions about the building? And they looked at me like, why are you asking? I said, I'm just curious. Do you have board of directors? Do you have an HOA president? And they, well, no, the homeowners all work together and they all share responsibility for the building and make their decisions, right? So only in the United States, apparently, are we the ones that we just can't handle shared living. Well, here's the problem with this. As we all know, with 50,000 heading towards 60,000 HOAs just in California, we are way behind the economic realities in our culture. Our culture has embraced shared attached living. I'm sorry, our business culture, our economics have embraced it, but our culture, our social acceptance is not caught up with the reality. So that makes a problem for you and me realtors, because it builds in a conflict in the HOA. And it's something that you can help your clients a lot, help them understand that this is a shared situation. And so that's going to be a problem for a while now, until people finally let go of this my way mentality. Sorry, Frank Sinatra, I'm sick of that song. Okay, it's got to be our way for the HOA to work. And lastly, number 10. Yeah, mixed use. Actually, Vince is right. I was thinking about adding a number 11, the mixed use homeowner association. So I'll do that. I'll add as an 11 after number 10. So number 10, because I don't want Lucia mad at me, because no, you do not want Lucia mad at you. Anyway, so the last problem in my planned agenda is governing documents which are either not helpful, are outdated, ignored, or all three. Now, the HOAs really started exploding in the mid-1970s, but we have them in California dating back to the 30s and 40s. All right. So some of them have CCNRs that are little. I had an HOA call me 3 weeks ago. Their CCNRs are literally handwritten. Yeah, I said, oh, I want to work with you. I want to see a copy of that, please. And I haven't got a copy. Otherwise, I would put it on the slide. But the Davis Sterling Act, the first version of Davis Sterling wasn't adopted until 1986. And then it was very small. It was skeletal. It was about 7 pages. Now the Davis Sterling Act is like a book, right? Yeah. Well, so we've got a lot of HOAs with governing documents that date back to before there was even a HOA law in California. So that creates a lot of problems because your governing documents, your CCNRs in particular, don't reflect anything close to what the current legal responsibilities are. So it's not helpful. The other problem is that we have the governing documents that the original developer in modern times creates for the HOA, which are pretty much always boilerplate. And so they have very little relationship to what the HOA actually is or what its needs are. So you'll see references to swimming pools when the HOA has no pool, or elevators when it's a townhouse project, there are no elevators, and so on and so on. So a lot of my clients are coming to me and saying, well, our HOA is only 10 years old, but our CCNRs are a mess because they're boilerplate from the original subdivider. Would you help us customize them to our needs? The last thing is, as you all know, how often are your clients before the close of escrow look at their CCNRs? Don't lie to me. I know the answer. It's 100% are not. Okay? Because if they were looking at the CCNRs, they'd be calling me for consultations saying, what does this mean? But they're looking at the CCNRs kind of like the way when you buy a television set or a toaster, you buy it, you get that little packet, little pamphlet inside the box, and you put it in a drawer in your kitchen. That's what we do. And then you don't look at it until you have a problem with the toaster. Then you look and say, oh, I had a problem with the toaster. Oh, shoot, I wasn't supposed to put it near a sink. Ooh, okay. Well, that's what they're doing with the CCNRs. They put it in a drawer. They think it's boilerplate, and they don't pull it out until the HOA says you cannot have that purple giraffe in your front yard. Okay. And then they get all uptight because they didn't realize they couldn't do whatever they wanted with the front yard. So I would beg you, beg your clients to look at the governing documents before they close escrow, not after. And lastly, mixed use. Thank you, Vince. Mixed use residential / commercial associations are exploding throughout our area. In the Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena, here up and down Valley Boulevard, a lot of major streets, we're seeing businesses on the first floor, and they're all condo owners, they all vote, and then homeowners above that. Well, the problem is they're two completely different interests, aren't they? The business owners want to do what? They want to have lots of customers and make money. The homeowners above want what? They want to be left alone and quiet. They don't want customers. And yet they're all voting in the same association. So the developer lawyers haven't really figured out the perfect recipe for that. So your clients buying into a mixed use association need to be very flexible in their expectations, I guess is the best way I could put it, because it's not going to be just like a purely residential association. You're going to have sometimes parking issues or extra trash or what have you. So I didn't quite do the 4 hours, Lucia, but I also didn't hit my 20-minute mark. I blew my deadline. So can I take questions or are you going to kick me out?
Okay, I'm gonna take the questions that are on virtual at this moment. There are only 2. I hope there's one that is really common sense, but okay. What do you do when the HOA does not answer your phone calls and ignore them?
What
emails?
What do we do as realtors when the HOA is not responding? Well, the HOA has one obligation towards the prospective buyer. Actually, that's not true. The HOA has no obligations toward the prospective buyer. The HOA's only obligation is to the seller, the member, who has the right to certain disclosures that the HOA must give the seller within 10 days of the written request. Now, we all know that typically HOAs take a lot longer than 10 days to respond. So my very strong suggestion to all of you is when you get a listing in an HOA, immediately ask for all the documents that your client is entitled to, because that way you have more time. Technically speaking, if the HOA doesn't make those disclosures to your seller, you can sue the HOA and get a statutory penalty and your court costs back. But who wants to do that? You're trying to do a deal. The escrow wants information on the buyer? Oh, sure. So the comment is that the HOA sometimes wants information on the buyer, but the HOA really doesn't have any legal right to it until the deal closes. Many CCNRs have more customized CCNRs will have requirements that when a new owner comes in, that the HOA is promptly notified, but that often happens through the escrow anyway. But technically speaking, the HOA doesn't really have a whole lot of reason to ask for information on the buyer until they become the official new owner. That helps.
Okay, for the sake of time, we're gonna leave it at that. And Bernadette, I will answer your question after the meeting. That one is an easy question.
Thanks for having me, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you. And before you leave me, please come back here. And on behalf of the West End Gabriel Board, thank you very much. A token of appreciation for coming here.
Thanks, everybody.
Very, very informative. I know it was a little bit long, but they're very, very good points. So at this moment, we're gonna have the West End Gabriel Valley Realtors drawings, the attendance drawing. So all WSGVR members are included in attendance drawing. Not all can be displayed, but all are included. The pot for today is $650. And if we don't get a winner, $25 gets added to the pot each week until we have a winner. If we get a winner pot, if we get a winner, then the pot will start at $25 again. If for our last breakfast meeting in December of this year, we still don't have a winner, we will draw names until we get one. And winner must be present either live or virtual. When your name is called, you must announce that you are here. So let's go. Oh dear. Stanton Tom, is that person here? Oh, okay. If it's not here, next week is gonna be $675. Okay, and at this moment, we're gonna do the WSGVR store drawing, and this is only 3 winners for those who are attending in person here, live. So it makes sense to come for this one. So all of you who are in Zoom, come next time. Okay. Long Dragon. Alan Chu. Lucky girl. Monica Leung. Where did Monica go?
She's freshening up.
Is Monica here? Once? She is really there? Okay, in that case, the third one will be Victoria Chen. So do we wait for Monica, Belen?
Is she in the ladies' room?
She's really in the ladies' room? Her purse is here. Okay, so we're gonna assume that she is here then. Please make sure to participate in our education classes. Our education classes read and learn environmental due diligence. That will be on Tuesday, July 19 from 11 to 12, and it's free. The 45-hour DRE license renewal continuing education is on Friday, July 22nd, and it's from 9:30 to 12:30. It's $85. The 2022 Broker Symposium is on Tuesday, July 26th, and it's from 9:30 to 12:45. It's free. And the new RPA Residential Purchase Agreement is on Tuesday, July 26th, from 1 to 4 o'clock, and is also free for members. We also have a $50 raffle. How much is it for today? $1.50. Okay. Let's see who the winner is. Where are the
The
tickets?
tumblers, the basket.
Okay. It is 670 6504. The last four numbers are 6504. Not here? 6504? Okay. Let's see if this one is here. 670-6355. Yay, Yuli. Okay. Congratulations. Okay, save the date for our installation luncheon is going to be December the 2nd, 2022. Tickets will go on sale soon. Sponsorship opportunities are available. Please call or email Belen Barrios for sponsorship information. So do please join us next week as we welcome attorney Chris Leon. His topic will be brokerage ownership and operations. Once again, congratulations to our board, WSGVR, on 100 years and going. So thank you everyone for joining our meeting today. This meeting is adjourned. Have a great week and we'll see you next week.